Hello everyone and welcome to my reaction to Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 159. Before I get into this week's reaction, I of course have to give a shout out to my wonderful patrons. Special thanks to Fuse, Neo, Dijon Redden, Anthony Chavez, Honey Mustard, Zach Rowitz, K-God, Chris Redfield, Scratch23, Rat, Ryzen 4K, Artist, Mac Campaign, and Wave of Manga. Thank you all very much for supporting me on Patreon. I greatly appreciate it. And if you too want to get a shout out at the start of videos or access to reviews for solo leveling in the Boxer, you can always become a patron as well. There's a link to my Patreon down in the description. And of course, if you haven't already, you should definitely hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. If my analytics are to be believed, only about a third of you guys are subscribed, so let's change that. I'd like to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if any of you guys who already enjoy my content aren't subscribed and decide to hit that subscribe button, that'd be a big help. So with that out of the way, let's get on with the reaction. I have been told ahead of time that this is apparently a very good chapter. Not just a very good chapter, actually. A 10 out of 10 chapter. Quite possibly one of, if not the best in the series, for some reason. It's apparently, like a really specific reason that I wasn't told about, so we're gonna find out. So we start off with this, random people. Japan's criminal justice system has a conviction rate of 99.9%. What? Is that true? Hold on, I have to check this, actually. Whoa, holy shit, it is! Oh my god. Oh my god, are we gonna find out about the judge right from the start? Oh fuck yeah. I had a cat. Continue. Oh yes, we're literally just here to learn about the judge. Once that man stood fast in the world of justice, never averting from his nature. Chapter 159, Judgment. Oh boy. A police officer suddenly called out to me, and soon there were 2 and then 3. I thought that if I was apprehended, my cat would die. Because my place had a no-pet policy, I was the only one that knew of my cat. In March of 2016, at Iwate Prefecture, Morioka City, there was an incident where 2 people, a young girl and her mother, were found stabbed to death in their home. The Morioka district attorney prosecuted Oe Keita, a man who lived nearby, under the suspicion that he robbed and murdered the 2. The story up to his arrest goes like this. Oe ran away during a patrolling officer's checkup questioning, and after following him into his home, the police officer discovered a blood-stained knife. He was arrested on the spot. In a DNA test that later took place, they found that the blood on the knife matched the DNA of the victims. Oe remained insistent of his innocence, and in regard to the knife that served as evidence, I picked it up. It's not mine. That's ridiculous. Yeah, that does sound ridiculous. Okay, so we're doing like a Law and Order episode right now. Cool. I mean, he only refused the checkup questions because he had a guilty conscience, right? No, it was because he had an acquaintance who used drugs, and that got him subjected to an unfair hearing before. And that was traumatizing for him. Even so, he said he picked up a bloody kitchen knife. Why? Apparently he intended to deliver it to the police later. Later? I know. Everything he said sounds so unreasonable. But Oe's environment, I'm beginning to think he's telling the truth after considering the non-profit organization that he lives and works at. Non-profit organization? This is an interesting attorney, to say the least. Their main activities include providing shelter for and aiding the elderly with living independently. Oe worked there as a caretaker, but he wasn't receiving any paychecks. All he got was some money dubbed as an allowance and provisions in the form of bentos and food ingredients. Yeah, they're not getting shit. Despite all that, he was forced to pay 50,000 yen a month for rent. Ah, dreadful. How the fuck was this guy supporting himself? I also heard that a decent amount of the people there have a criminal record. As for why he couldn't immediately turn in the weapon as evidence, we're not supposed to call them, because police cars and ambulances would inconvenience the neighbors. That organization is pretty gray, isn't it? Yes, they're a shade of gray that's exceedingly close to being black. I mean, yeah, they help people out, but it sounds like Wait, what do they mean by that? Shady. We're already having an increase in shady nonprofit organizations ever since the earthquake reconstruction funds have started flowing into northeastern Japan. Now hold on a second. I'm pretty sure nonprofits can still pay their employees. It's just the company itself does not profit from the work. So these guys are kind of getting fucked over a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if the weapon really was just lying on the ground somewhere. There's a decent chance that OA is innocent. First, we'll dig up information on the organization's track record, tax returns, and background of all members. I'll question OA as thoroughly as I can to get as much information as possible. So Shimizu, I want you to move forward with this investigation. Also, can you take care of a cat? Aren't you asking a lot for me all of a sudden, cat? A defense attorney has so much to do despite having a low salary. And if it's a murder charge, there's no chance of a suspended sentence, and he might even receive the death penalty. Public opinion is that defendants are always guilty. Yeah, that actually is very common a lot of the time. A lot of the time, it's not innocent till proven guilty. A lot of times, it's guilty until proven innocent. Geez, Higurama-san, why do you accept a case like this? It's fine sometimes. I'll get rusty if I only take on easy cases. Okay, so Higurama's an interesting guy so far. I'm wondering where we're gonna get to the crazy shit where he starts fucking killing people. It's not sometimes. It's not sometimes. You're thinking out loud. Oh, I see. That's actually a neat little character trait. Seems like Higurama hasn't changed. Must be hard if your boss isn't interested in money. I'm not saying he has to run a cafe on the side like you do, Takagi. You said he hasn't changed? Has Higurama always been like that? I don't think so. If anything, he's probably gotten worse. Worse? So he... What? When he was working at my place, he was in charge of dangerous driving injuries. More specifically, drunk driving cases. The defendant was 19 years old, and he was pressured by the people at his workplace into driving under the influence of alcohol. But the people involved all corroborated their stories. He couldn't prepare money to settle it outside of court, and he also couldn't get a suspended sentence either. Liar, you told me that I'd be found not guilty. You only told him that you'll try to get him a suspended sentence and didn't say anything about him being found not guilty. But you learned your lesson, right? You should quit doing the criminal defense of impossible cases like that. I see. So Higurama chooses to defend people that seem like an impossible case. Like there's no way they're not guilty. It's like the 12 Angry Men situation. He's the one guy in 12 Angry Men. Holy shit. Rescuing the weak, that's noble and all, but us lawyers can only do so much without understanding from the court and the prosecutor. There's no need to continue just to gain unwarranted resentment from your client. They've been pushed into a corner both mentally and financially. I can't blame them for taking their anger out on me. How are you holding up mentally, Higurama? Higurama seems like a really good dude, but I think doing all this shit is definitely gonna break him. This is all flashback. Obviously, this dude's gonna have like a fucking Joker moment or something. So here he is, he's helping people out. He's, getting information from witnesses and stuff. He's staying up late at night working on paperwork. I'm sorry if I'm yawning. I literally just woke up like 20 minutes ago. The verdict is not guilty. Holy shit. No one can believe it. We really won. It's not over yet. They'll appeal it right away. True. Alright, we've got a bunch of newspaper stories about it. And I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be pissed at Higurama for getting this guy off. Stolen objects were not found in your room. There was someone who went missing from the nonprofit organization soon after the crime. Oh, there's my mouse. That was a little concerning. Soon after the crime, and you were found on the security cameras of a convenience store during the estimated time of crime derived from the bodies. Those were the deciding factors. Good thing you aren't the type who cooks for themselves. Higurama, thank you very much. Oh, Higurama-sensei, thank you very much. Okay, I usually try to skip the honorifics, but it was actually important here. Don't call me sensei. And don't get ahead of yourself. We still have the secondary trial. I work really hard, too. That's not what I was talking about. Thank you for believing in me. See? That's, that right there is very clearly what Higurama does this stuff for. He's gonna try and get people off when no one else will. Why does that sound kind of weird in my head? Anyway, you know, the people who would never get a not guilty verdict from anyone else. That's what he's here for. Appeal trial, secondary trial, guilty verdict, life in prison. Well, that sucks. Opposed to the lawyer's side, which has a limited budget and human resource, the district attorney just has to put more taxpayers' money and manpower to find the evidence. That's fine. That's just how it is. But in this secondary trial, the attorney's side didn't provide any new evidence. Instead, they simply made an absurd claim for burden of proof, saying that there is no reason to suspect the missing person of the crime. The sentence was overturned. A tertiary trial by the Supreme Court has a narrow gate. Appeals hardly ever make it to them. It's difficult to even have them hear the case. From the start, this trial was a foregone conclusion of a guilty verdict. Yep, everyone assumed he was guilty from the start, and that's why he was found guilty. So, always looking at Higurama. Higurama looks kind of shocked. Why do you look at me with those eyes? How are you holding up mentally, Higurama? I don't consider myself a savior of the weak. It's always been my nature that I'm unable to ignore something that I felt was wrong. That's not a terrible nature. It could lead to some problems, though. That part of me was never fixed. The goddess of justice blinds her eyes for equality under the law, and people are capable of turning a blind eye to anything if it's to save their own skin. Meanwhile, in order to avoid shaking off the hands that reach out to me for help, even if no one else does, I want to keep my eyes open. I see. No more blind justice. Seeing justice. If there are any objections to this decree, please submit a petition within 15 days, including today. Gavel smacks down. Higurama, everyone come back. Wait. Higurama went and he hit the gavel. We're having a retrial. Holy shit. What the fuck is that? Well, it's obviously a Shikigami, but it has scales? Higurama Hiromi Culling Game Player. The Mallet of Wrath opens up a cursed courtroom. Cool! Well, that was a cool chapter. I don't know if it was the... Okay, I understand why this would be something where this would be their favorite chapter because of personal bias. This was like a fucking Law and Order episode, basically. Kind of. I mean, not exactly. But, you know, the order part of the Law and Order episode. Pretty cool chapter. Higurama's an interesting guy. I quite like him so far. He's not what I expected. He's actually kind of like the opposite of what I expected so far. But I like him. He's an interesting guy. It's a good thing that he seems to be the one that they're going after instead of Hajime. Because Hajime just seems like an asshole, whereas Hiromi at least has some kind of good intentions behind his actions, so convincing him should probably be a bit easier. But I guess we're just going to have to see how that all works out next chapter. It seems like we are going to get a Yuji-focused chapter next week, so look forward to that. I know I am. But yeah, with that, that's all I have to say for this week's reaction. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I do Jujutsu Kaisen chapter reactions and reviews every week. If you enjoy discussing Jujutsu Kaisen with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I highly suggest you check out my Discord server. I have linked to that down in the description. If you enjoy other series such as Record of Ragnarok, Chainsaw Man, Kengan Omega, and Bleach, I do videos in those series as well, so if you're interested in those, you should definitely check out my channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Take care.